Yeah, they have a setup that is small. And I remember saying we're going to go to this place called Omaha. We were going to compete one day for the national championship. And the guys went, all right. It's the battle. How you hold that. It's about getting into the kids' hearts, getting into the kids' head. If you were on the other end of the road, nothing below you. What you want on this end, the whole of the road, no in his hand, so strong, his dedication is so great, his love for you so great, that he never let go of that road. Robbie Smith stood up on the edge of the dugout. He cupped his hands and he said, stand, hold on to the rope, hold on.
Right on Ezra's face.
Now, Warren Morris.
All right, guys, welcome to a special edition of Sports Talk 225 and In Zone Eats by you brothers.
Both works.
My guy Adam reached out. We're having a special tribute to a legendary LSU skipper, Skip Bertman. We are joined by Skip's grandson, Ezra. Got to know Ezra over the summer playing for the Rougarou. Great guy, here to share some awesome stories about his grandfather. We look forward to hearing them. Behind us, other legendary coaches from the high school era that Coach had impact on. A multitude of stories Adam's got from former players and other coaches. And who knows who will pop up. We are at Alex Box Stadium, just outside, directly in front of the Skip Bertman statue and current memorial. So we look forward to it. So guys, Ezra, first and foremost, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Consider.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for having me on. It's really an honor.
Adam?
No better place to do this than right in front of the house that Skip built. This is an incredible place, and it wouldn't have happened without number 15.
Yeah, no doubt. Wolf?
Yeah, it just listen to the video, man, gave me chills, and just remember all the good times I've had in this place. Not just this one, but the old Alex Box, and watching Skip, and I wasn't a Tiger fan at first. I came from Texas. I fell in love with the Tigers in 2000 when they went to Omaha and beat they beat Stanford with the walk-off by Cressy. And from that day forward, I've been a Tiger fan, and Skip, he was the guy that got me to love the Tigers.
It's funny, we think about those days when Skip got here and you talk about 454 people in the stands.
Yeah.
That's a very specific number. Not 450, not 500, not 400, 454.
There's a quote that he says there's more pigeons in the fan than people.
Yeah.
It's a good one. So you guys take the floor. I've got a couple of stories. I'm very fortunate enough to actually have a couple of Skip stories. happened. One of them right here inside those doors with him and Augie Garrido. I'll tell that story later on, but kind of let you guys take the floor and run with it.
Yeah, the crazy part is you don't have to have played for him or coached with him to have a skip story, because he's affected a lot of people in the state, a lot of people in the city for sure, and not necessarily all players, because I didn't play for him. Some of them back there didn't play for him. Some did, but everybody has a story, and because he impacted so many people on so many levels, and in this town, if baseball's right, the whole world's right.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think that, one of the core reasons that, LSU has became such a powerhouse in baseball is, my grandfather, his ambition when he got here, and he had, his list of things that he wanted to change. And not only that, but he was willing to do things that were, out of the ordinary for a normal coach. Like he used to always tell me, and these things are a lot off the field things, during the basketball games, he would be the one, getting his players to go in the stands and hand out season schedules and promotional things, and just getting people out to the ball games for reasons other than baseball. And that thing has, it's continued with 26 years, I think, since 1996 of, the leading attendance in college baseball. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy because you talk about from that moment of the low attendance to really becoming a marketer, a fundraiser, a developer of this culture, that this is going to be a part of the culture of LSU, not a second-rate citizen.
Before Skip Bertman, college baseball was irrelevant. No one talked about college baseball. It was just they did, there was some, but it wasn't to the level that it is now. The reason why college baseball is where it's at right now is because of Skip Bertman. Skip Bertman made this sport great, and because of the way he promoted LSU, and everyone saw his design and copied off of it, and knew that there was obviously revenue, but there was a way to build these this sport that we love.
Yeah, I mean, and winning helps.
Yeah, it does.
Creating a winning culture. It just and it was an expectation. It wasn't
standard. Standard.
It was. I mean, there's so many stories that we can go into, and we were just talking about the Ronnie Ranch story before we got on air, and I mean, it's epic that you, instead of going to the right field, you bring them out to center field, and then you tell the story, and I mean, it's just it's endless.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories is the one Ben McDonald. So this is how bad things were when Skip first got here. Was whenever they would hit a foul ball, they would send Ben McDonald with a practice ball that he signed to trade for the foul ball because they couldn't afford more game balls.
That's where Ronnie Rance gets it from.
Yeah.
That's
where he got it from. That's where he got it from, Skip Bertman. Yeah, they couldn't afford game balls, so he would send big. Hey Ben, go get a ball, sign it, and give it to the fan. Get that ball back.
Bring those foul balls.
Bring those foul balls. Yeah, there it is. That's it.
I believe a signed Ben McDonald ball is worth a little more than a Aruba.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, at the time, we don't know. We don't know.
Well, now it all makes sense to me as to why at the beginning of the season, I guess some of those new interns didn't realize, and they were telling the kids, "No, you can just keep the foul. Old Ronnie'd have a stroke."
Yeah. See, that's part of why Ronnie has the baseball acumen and the organizational stuff is because of lessons that he learned from Skip.
Absolutely.
Because Ronnie's not where he is, owning 2 baseball teams and being as successful as he is in the Hall of Fame and all that stuff without learning the lessons from Skip, as we see Jay Johnson walking out.
Yeah. Man, it's, he understood that baseball belonged in the community. And you talk about in the beginning going out and giving family packs of tickets, so you get the mom, the dad, and the children come and join. So,
and that's one thing beautiful about LSU baseball is it is a family event. You go tailgate the football games, and that's fun. People are partying and having time, but this is more of a family atmosphere when you come down to the box.
For sure. When he started back in the day when he got here in the first place, the first thing he did was make family pack tickets to where you could bring a family and make it affordable.
Yeah.
Because right now bringing a family is kind of
Well, that's winning. That's what winning does.
That's what winning does,
Unfortunately, it's fortunate side effect of winning.
oh, for sure.
Yeah, and but it's understandable because demand isn't there. When demand's not there, you create the. I mean, it's just business acumen, supply and demand.
Yeah.
When the demand's higher, the price can.
And
be
that's
higher.
what made him exceptional was because not only was he an exceptional coach, he was a tremendous businessman.
Yeah.
He knew how to operate a business. He ran LSU Sporting like a business. You know, he was AD from 2001 to 2008. He brought in two coaches.
He hired Nick Saban.
He hired Nick Saban, which no one really knew. I mean, he was at Michigan State at the time, but no one knew. Like, why would you hire this guy? He brings him out here. 2 years later, we're winning a national championship. You know, and then he brings in a succession with Les Miles. He comes in.
Yep.
It was Nick Saban, some Nick Saban player,
Nick
but
Saban
it doesn't
wasn't
matter.
coaching, though.
It doesn't
So
matter.
it doesn't matter.
He won a national
Yeah,
championship.
you can't
So he's
say
got-
that. You wouldn't say that. Or
He's
ignorant.
the AD that has
He's
two
not the coach.
national championships under his belt for football.
Last I checked, he was in Miami getting worked over by professional athletes at the time. You notice what happened when college players became paid athletes?
Yeah.
Nick Saban was like,
Exit
yeah,
stage
I remember
left.
this from Miami. I'm ready to retire.
You know, when
It was a
when
good
your
run.
players get paid more than you,
Yeah.
Yeah, no lie.
it's different.
So, Ezra, you were close to the situation. What would you say? He was very close to Smoke, right? Smoke Laval. So, when he hired his best buddy, and that was the perception at the time, do you think that one weighed the most on him? Because the public, once you retire, you're the guy. Nobody's ever going to live. It's just like Nick Saban current era, right? Dude, what was Kalen DeBoer thinking? Who wants to follow that guy? So it doesn't matter how close you are to the guy, but you got to follow the GOAT's footsteps. Do you think that all that chirping ever got to him?
Yeah, maybe I think a little bit, but you know, usually when I talk to my grandpa about you know, Smoke and that situation, he usually does not have a lot to say regarding his career. But you know, that's just you know one part of his career that you know once he became the athletic director.
It's tough decisions.
Right. Yeah. But
So talk to me about, especially with playing for the Rougarou during the summer, and he gets that front row seat, pulls up, and then gets out, comes sits by the wall. Any added pressure having Grandpa sitting there watching?
definitely a little bit, but overall it was just such a great experience, you know, to have. And I really appreciate Ronnie and Casey over with the Rougarou, you know, hooking me up on the team. That first summer was such an amazing time. He came, even if I wasn't pitching, you know, sometimes he would be there. He watched us win the championship. And actually a funny story, which I wasn't there for, but Larson Fobb and a couple other the Rougarou guys were celebrating the championship at Canes, doing a little celebration, and Skip was able to go. I was headed back to school, but Skip gets there, and they said he put his hand down on the table with 5 rings and said, "Let me get a 5-finger combo." And yeah, he was always just making funny jokes and loved to be around, you know, baseball guys talking about, you know, all the memories, and you know, definitely a legend. And you know, but legends never die. He'll always be with us.
Speaking of a legend, I got one on the screen with us right now.
Yeah.
His name is Mike Boniel. He was an equipment manager for a lot of Skip's tenure, and he goes by Bones. He lives in Texas now, but he's got a story to tell. Hey,
What's up, Bones?
Can you hear us?
What's up, y'all? I was gonna say, Adam, if you
Hold on, let me. Is that what we?
left it at Mike Boniel, nobody would know who you're.
He's got some.
Now we can hear.
No, that's me. Hold on. Turn it up so I can hear.
You got me?
Thought I had the volume up.
This is what happens when you do 2 live podcasts at one time. Sometimes you got to make some adjustments on the fly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, we got you now.
Here.
So this is Bones.
Yeah.
What's up, Bones?
What's up? Doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, glad to. Glad to. I jumped at the chance when Adam sent me a message. Um, obviously everybody's, heartbroken, but equally proud. I explained it to Karen Boss today, who I work for Jeff Boss over in the football equipment room. How proud I am to have been in front of the Skip Bertman train and been pushed along the tracks. Uh, Obviously, made many, many, many people better, and just nobody will ever have enough great things to say. So I just wanted to come on and tell a story. I know a lot of stories going on, past few days on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. I want to say it was 2000. We were hosting Georgia. So at the time, Ron Polk was the head coach, and, Skip and Ron Polk were, years and years and years do they go back, and years do they give each other crap about their towns, about their colleges, about their baseball. This weekend we were in a delay, and Adam, this one involves your brother Dustin.
He's actually right next to me.
And we affectionately called him the GOAT. So we're coming out of this rain delay, and we are getting the field prepared. Players are not yet warm, but that's going to take place in the next half hour. So Skip and Polk are in our dugout at the old box, just puffing away, as you would imagine. So I go in to give both of them the report on, we're going to get the field ready. It's probably going to be about 45 minutes, no BP. We're going to go straight into infield and get going. And about that time, Dustin walks up and he looks at me and he goes, and I looked at Coach Polk and I said, "What do you want to drink?" And he goes, "Diet Coke." And I looked at Dustin and I said, "3 Diet Cokes and whatever you want." And Dustin just runs off. And Skip looked at me and he goes, "Ooh, bony one. Yep. Whatever you want. Fluent goat." Just runs off. And of course, Polk had going on. He about lost his one. Yep. Whatever you want. Fluent goat. Just runs off. And of course, Polk had he about lost his one. Yep. And Skip looked at me and he goes, so I knew about that time that I needed to graduate in the next year or two. And then luckily I was at Georgia in 2001 for Skip's last game at Georgia, where Polk was still the coach. And Coach Polk drove this Mercedes out onto the field with a big red bow on it. Of course, we all thought Polk was giving Skip a car, and we're looking at each other, who's driving this home from Athens to Baton Rouge. And then car parks, stops at home plate. Out gets one of the assistant coaches with a giant box of cigars. So it was just always fun to see those two go back and forth before games, rain delays, and so forth. But they would always just wear.
Yeah, I caught up with a SEC umpire not the other day, Scott Irby, and he told me some, which I'll get to later. He told me some Skip and Ron Polk stories too.
Oh, absolutely. I talked. John Magnuson was a longtime SEC baseball umpire. Actually called me yesterday, and we talked probably for about 20 minutes and sharing some Skip stories. And those umpires, man, they saw them all for many, many years and got to know them really well. And Magnuson says, he goes, "Yeah, I remember one time, Skip comes out on me on a questionable call, and he goes, Magnuson, you bozo, that's a terrible call. And I said, well, what'd you tell him? He goes, I looked right at Skip and go, shut up. I didn't like the hit and run in the third. Get back in the dugout. And Skip looked at him and was like, okay, I guess I'm leaving now. Yeah, no, it's always interesting to hear how everybody that either met Coach Bertman one time or worked with him for many years has stories or impressions or just amazing stories. And I consider myself extraordinarily fortunate to not only have spent so much time with Coach, but also Miss Sandy. You know, because I work summer camps every year. You know, I mean, tell you what, I broke up pretty good with Sandy. She was special that cared about every single one. And
Yeah.
would go
There's
to
not, there's not many people that have been at LSU with Skip longer and more time than you, sir.
it was a good run, and you know, I mean, we've stayed in touch over the years, and most people don't know I would call him one year in college. We were having a good time at the Super Bowl, and I decided it would be a great idea if I called Skip at halftime. And from that year on, wherever I was when I was, you know, at LSU full time or at SMU or at Auburn or even up to this past January, always at halftime of Super Bowl Sunday. And then probably about 7 or 8, 10 years ago, he goes, okay, bony one, you got to call me in the daytimes. But we made a habit every year to have the Super Bowl experience.
Yeah, those are some great stories. Even I know him and Ron Polk went all the way with their jokes even until this year. My grandpa, I guess Ron Polk came here for a game this season or within the past year, and my grandpa had said, you know, I know he's going to say something regarding my statue, you know, because he's got a statue as well. So he's going to say something about the statue. And they said, just right up in here in this parking lot, Coach Polk pulled up and said, you know, got out of the car, hugged Skip, and first thing he said is, "Oh, my statue is like 2 inches taller than yours," or whatever.
Yep, for sure.
So Scott Irby said about 91 and 92, we had Mississippi State and LSU for the SEC regular season championship game at the box. And so Skip walks out and says, we're going to put fans on the inside of the field. Skip, Ron Polk, and Joe Dean, the AD at the time, came in, said, we're going to put 2,000 fans on the inside of the lines like the 1920s. Played 9 and 7 on Saturday. He was the Bear Bryant of college baseball. He would not. Who would tell him no? If he says something's going to happen, guess what? It's going to happen. And they played that game with 2,000 fans inside the lines because they had sold out everything and they wanted to get more people in.
Yeah, roped off by yellow streamers.
Yeah, with the fact that the bullpens and all that were inside the lines.
Yeah.
They shoved as many people as they could in between the lines because it was that big of a game.
Yeah.
Also, he said he came out to me at a play and told me that play was right, but Polk got ejected earlier in the game, so here's my turn. He said that dude's not going to outdo me. But when he walked out, he says, "Hey, I made sure in the locker room y'all got free passes at Phil's tonight." So he always hooked them up. No matter what, he knew the right press and the right thing. And if you needed something, found a way to get it.
You know, a lot back then, you know, Saturday games. And many times the umpires would go ask coach to put in a call for those guys every single time back on how well they were treated and how respectful, you know, because I mean, people, you know, fans recognize those guys. You but how respectful people always.
Yeah, we could sit here all night and tell stories. There's enough people around here, and there's enough stories to go around that. I mean, I've been watching Facebook, and so many different people from Norm DeBryan put out a statement. Dave Van Horn put out a statement. Ron Polk put out a statement.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody who's anybody anywhere just put out a statement. And I'm really interested to see next Tuesday how many at 4:30.
So baseball royalty.
How many fans? How many former players fly in for it? I talked to Paul Bird earlier today. He'll be here for it.
Yeah.
Randy Kiesler will be here. J.C. Holt is only 2 hours away. He'll be here.
Phil and Edward might know the list.
Well, Lori's at home working on it right now.
Yeah. My aunts have been, helping facilitate the whole thing. But yeah, we are expecting, a lot of people to show up, and that's been one thing for our family. The support that we've, gotten over the years, for Skip and, Sandy, my grandmother, and it's going to mean a lot to us, especially to give Skip one final hurrah, at the PMAC and really make it an experience, to never be forgotten. And yeah, see, just all tons of people in the stands, and that's what Skip would have wanted,
Yeah. If they wanted to, they could pack that football stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they
I
really
believe
wanted to.
I believe it.
In the heat.
In the heat.
Yep.
People would go, and people would pack that place because wherever they put it wouldn't even be big enough.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that it's at night where people can leave work and still get there.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see that picture.
A fitting tribute to an absolutely a man of the people. You come to a LSU baseball game, Skip would move around the stadium, and it wasn't. He just sat in the Champions Club and then walked out to his seat. Like the guy sat there and talked. Like I said, we had a 30-minute conversation with Skip Bertman and Augie Garrido. Like, why are they talking to us?
Yeah.
Because that's who they were. They would talk baseball. If you would listen, they would share. So it's fantastic.
So recently, I was actually working with Lori to try to get Coach on my podcast, and we had just about scheduled a date, but that never happened. But it was such an honor spending time with Skip and knowing Skip. And
Absolutely.
I used to go on a lot of road trips because my brother was an equipment manager. Our family vacation every year was the SEC tournament. Like, we went to Birmingham or Hoover more times than I've been to the beach. And just being with those players and Bones got stories for days about how you and him over there would wash clothes all night and do the whole towels and do the whole visiting uniforms, and there's stories for days that he'll be on in a little bit to talk about it. But and then I don't want to say all the stories because I'm sure he's got something to say, but because he's never short of words. But yeah, Bones, what you got?
I was just gonna say I gotta go take off real quick, but I appreciate you having me on, and then I look forward to seeing y'all on.
Thanks, Bones. Thanks for joining us.
Can't wait to see you on Tuesday,
Thank you.
bro.
All right, y'all be good.
We talk about community and what the things that Skip did in the community with United Way, Cancer Service, the Alzheimer's Association. It was important to him. Boy Scouts of America, the Athletic Arthritis Foundation, Anti-Defamation League. Like
The list is a laundry list.
yeah, it's just amazing.
And not only that, all the camps that he had, like that was one thing that I didn't realize until he passed. I have several of my friends posted pictures of when they were 7, 8 years old at these camps that Skip put on, and with pictures with Skip and everything. I mean, he impacted the entire community from top to bottom.
So you work over there in the industrial place area.
Yeah.
So back in the day, they used to
Skip
have
Bertman.
Skip Bertman
Yeah.
Grand
I
Slam.
Yep.
remember
Yep.
I used
blew
to
out
go.
my knee. I
Yeah.
blew out my knee there.
Oh yeah.
I used to go there a lot.
Yep. Batting cages over
Sweating on the turf. in
That's
the batting
actually
cage.
that's
And then-
actually when I got this book,
He went to rotate.
and I got
and-
inside.
there. Nice.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that book?
Wow.
It's got all kind of stories. It's black and white.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know my Aunt Jody was the employee, one of the managers at the Grand Slam cage.
Yeah. Was it Grand Slam or Line Drive?
No, Skip Bertman Grand Slam.
Grand Slam,
Slam.
yeah.
Yeah, it was Skip Bertman
I'll
Grand
never,
Slam.
I'll never forget it. Ever forget it. Because one, it was the coolest. Because it was unlike the only other thing that you had in Baton Rouge at the time was what's the little kiddie place on the airline?
Oh, Celebration
Celebration
Station.
Station.
That was the only other thing. Yeah,
That was
it was the
terrible.
only true batting cage in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And
so-
now all these private travel ball teams have their own warehouses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you have that was the visionary, right, for things like D-bats and
Right,
right,
things
sure.
like that across the country, and that just shows the visionary that he was. And then we could go on for days about the relationship with Wally Pontiff. Skip did the eulogy for Wally Pontiff Jr. I don't even think contributor to the Wally Pontiff Foundation is the right word. But just we could go on and on and on those stories.
We want to rotate somebody out.
Ezra, thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining
thank y'all
us.
so
man.
much.
Some
Thank
of
y'all
them
for having
driven
me.
a while.
Yeah, we got these guys are driven.
A while. No problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
Hey, anything you need from us, brother, let
Yes,
us
sir.
know.
Thank
Love
you
man.
so much. Thank y'all
Appreciate
so
you.
much for having me.
That was Ezra Pate.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Who we got next? Who you picking next?
Come on, Chris.
Hey, what's up, man? Chris, the movie.
Coming up
Oh,
next is former
I saw
LSU
you
pitcher
kids,
Chris
last
Demouy.
year.
Yes,
Chris
sir.
Demouy.
Jackson's in that.
Chris Demouy.
Oh, nice.
He is. I think they call him a drug salesman now.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Pharmaceutical.
Nice to see you, man.
Pharmaceutical salesman would probably be more accurate than drug salesman.
Hey, whatever gets us views.
Thanks, Ezra.
Thank you. Have a good one, y'all.
All right.
Ooh, the wind was kicking when Bones was talking. The
Yeah.
wind was like
Yeah.
blowing all over the place. What up, bro?
What's up, man? How are y'all doing?
Good.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, what's a story you got?
You want a personal story or like a team story?
Any of them?
Both.
Both. We got time.
Okay. I will say the first one. Obviously, I played for Coach Bertman for 4 years, and I actually transferred in. So I transferred from an NAIA school, which is like unheard of back then. And being from here, I wanted to come back. I'm a Catholic, and my teammates played here, so I was like, let me see what I can do at LSU. And some people helped me out along the way to try to get in front of Coach Bertman. So this summer, this is 1994 summer, and I'm like, all right, I'm leaving Spring Hill. I'm going to come back. And some people got me in front of Coach. And they're like, hey, Skip wants to talk to you. I'm like, all right. This just goes to show, one, how gracious he was, but two, just how naive I was. Like, I had no idea. Like, even though I was from here, like, I knew LSU was good, but, like, I didn't, like, really know. So I walk in to go talk to Coach Bertman, and I got a Michigan hat on. I swear to God.
Wrong move.
I swear to God. And he's kind of like, oh, okay. So he sits down. He's like, yeah.
Wrong M.
He sits down. I sit down in his office, and he's like, yeah, we know who you are. Obviously, Patrick. I graduated Patrick Coogan, played with him at LSU Catholic, so they knew, obviously, Coogan was here, so that's who they knew who I was. And several of my teammates, Tim Lanier and Brian Doherty, all those guys were here. And he goes, hey, yeah, we know who you are. Obviously, left-handed pitcher. We can always use a left-handed pitcher. I'm like, okay, yes, sir. He goes, you're probably not going to pitch at all this first year. I'm like, no, I get it. I understand. Coming from a small school. And he goes, we're like really good. I'm like, yes, sir. He goes, no, we're good, really good. Like, we're better than that team you have on your head right now. And I felt about like this. I was like, and I took it off, just completely embarrassed, just naive 18-year-old who thought he knew a lot. And coach was like, yeah, come on, and we'll see how it works out for you. And it worked out great, obviously, I think, for both of us. But that's something I always used to tell him whenever I team again. And then the school that I went to was a Jesuit college, and this priest was like refusing to release me. And he kept calling Skip like, "We're not going to let him go." And Skip's like, "He's not even going to pitch for us this year. Like, just release him." Like, and we always used to talk about that. But, just for him not to embarrass me in that moment when the guy had won, 2 national championships already, and he knew they were going to gear up for a couple more, and just how gracious he was in giving me the opportunity coming from a really, really small school. And then, the ability to put me on the field and trust me, and I had a big part in that too. But he kind of gave me the tools to succeed. That just that opportunity really meant a lot for me, and I've never forgotten it to this day.
Yeah, that's one thing about him that every one of his players that always they would squeeze every bit of talent that you had in your body, and he'd get it out of you, and you get it onto the field.
Well, push that mic up. Push it up.
Up.
There you go.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
No, I agree, and I was just a lefty who threw in the mid '80s, and nothing real special, and just kind of played some different roles, relief, star, close, whatever you want to call it, and I never thought I would be able to pitch at that level for a program of this magnitude. To pitch as much as I did in terms of appearances and have some success. Obviously, the teammates helped a ton, but he constantly pushed me from an expectation standpoint. I knew, like, if I wanted to pitch, you had to be, I had to live up to those expectations and exceed them. And it's every time I went out there, I wanted to make sure that, one, my teammates trusted me, but two, I always wanted to make sure, like, he knew that he made the right decision and giving me an opportunity, so I wanted to prove him right. Like, no, I'm here for a reason. You made the right decision. Let me show you why. So it was a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, not towards him, but I just wanted him to always know that I was always trying to prove it to him.
What did Skip do to get the best out of you? Mentally, the psychological aspect of it to drive you to the next level?
I think, and you've heard a lot of his former players talk about this, but he coached everybody individually.
Yeah.
Some people needed a pat on the back, some people needed a kick in the butt, some people needed to be challenged in front of others, and some people just needed to have their arm put around him and talk to him in the dugout because that's how he knew he could build them up. So I think that was one of his greatest superpowers, if you will, is he knew what everybody needed, and everybody knew he didn't treat you differently in terms of favoritism per se, but he treated you differently in terms of motivation.
Yeah.
And so the other thing too is, on top of that, from a team perspective, I mean, he had a system and it worked. You just needed to buy into it and trust him, because without that, then nothing would be successful. So if you tried to go, swim upstream and everybody else is swimming downstream, it's like you're going to be the outlier. And even his teammates would be like, "Man, you need to get on board the train here because this is not working, or you're never going to play." And he knew some guys that did that and they got opportunities, but if they didn't come through, then he knew that it just wasn't, for the long-term success of the team. So
I mean, that's a sign of a great leader. He tailor-made his leadership strategy to the player to get everyone to buy in, and then everyone is not only buying in, but they're holding their other teammates accountable for this system that he's built.
100%. And I think the good thing is you saw it start to compound. Is once he got over the hump in 91, then you saw guys that had been around the program and they go back in 93. So the guys that I was with in 96 who were seniors, Chad Cooley, Jason Williams, Tim Lanier, Warren Morris, all those guys were freshmen in 93. So they saw, Waxton obviously played a massive role in 93, but they saw Todd Walker, Russ Johnson, all those other guys. So when it was their turn to lead, it was the expectation and the standards. And the same thing with 97. We learned from all those guys in 96.
That's right.
And we had a ton of new guys come in, almost like a massive portal class. I mean, real quick, the dudes we brought in 97, so freshman was Brad Cressy, Cedric Harris, Blair Barbier, by the way.
Yeah.
All of those
them.
guys as freshmen.
Yeah.
But the JUCO guys were Danny Higgins, Wes Davis, Brendan Larson, and Doug Thompson. All four of those guys basically started, and then, Ced, Blair, and Cressy played a huge role too. So if the system and the standard wasn't in place by the guys that were already coming back from 96, then it would have been just a crapshoot. But they knew coming in, like, this is how it's going to be. This is what the standard is, what the expectation is. And especially more so from the JUCO guys, like, y'all need to get on board, and we can be really good, and we can be good.
It's one of the compliments that I think always stood out the most, and I think that meant the most to him, was hearing that when his players took the field, they looked like they knew they were going to win. like they had been there before, even if they hadn't. And that's what you say. They passed the torch on,
Yeah,
and the
they
guys
passed the
knew
torch.
how to act and how to represent the program.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it just compounded, right? From all those guys, it just, they poured into the younger guys, and then when they left, the younger guys took control because they knew from the previous guys, this is how we do things at LSU baseball.
Yeah, they showed them what good looks like.
Yeah.
They're coming up and they know what good looks like because they've seen it.
You get upset.
It's not
using that phrase right now.
It's not like they have to go to uncharted territory where we don't know what a championship looks like. No, we've already set the standard. This is what it looks like, and then everyone behind them come up.
Yeah, he had the perfect mix of superstars and the perfect mix of program players.
Oh,
And,
I was a
and
program player. 100%.
he got the program players good enough to believe and to meld in and mix in with the superstars.
Yep.
And without those program players from here, you don't have that kind of team.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. Yeah, it's. I think to your point, one of the biggest program players is probably in my generation the most overlooked guy that I ever played with is Jason Williams. Jason Williams is one of the best. He went to Santa Monica, one of the best shortstops I ever played with. Period. And he was the ultimate program player. He's just a brick, just a true foundational player. But y'all are exactly right. I was a program player. Guys like Trey McClure, Casey Coombs. Moving forward, you had Brian Bennett from Slidell. You had other guys that made up the back end of the rotation too. Joey Payne from Weston Road. All these Louisiana guys that were very good in high school.
I got me a Joey story.
Joe Paul.
I think Joe will be here Tuesday, but I got me a couple Joe stories.
Yeah. So I got one real quick for you while you find that. So in '96, just a little context here, we got swept by Florida on the road. So they beat us, and it just wasn't good. Then we got them back in the College World Series. We beat them twice in the College World Series, literally by the exact same scores. It was very ironic.
Yeah.
So in '97, they come here. Obviously, big rivalry. Florida was Florida. They still are very good. So we win the first two, but I did not pitch well on Saturday. I gave up like a 3-run bomb. We won like 12-7. And on Sunday, I'm getting loose in the outfield for the game. The coach never did this, ever. So he waddles out to me. I don't do a great impression, but he goes to move. I'm like, yes, sir. Like, what are you doing out here? I'm just getting loose, pregame. He goes, so I think I finally figured you out. Granted, I had been in the program for 3 years. He goes, I finally figured you out. He said, you're really good one day, and then you're absolute crap the next day. He said, so yesterday you were crap. He said, so today, when I put you in the game, I expect you to be good. I'm like, yes, sir. Okay. Just call me out. I get it.
So Joey said, in 1997, I was scheduled to pitch the next day, so I was keeping the scorebook right next to Skip. I can't remember who was pitching for us, but the count was 1 ball and 2 strikes. Skip said, watch this. And he said, I called a 1-2 freeze ball. This is an actual pitch we learned where the thought process is the hitter is looking curveball, so you throw a fastball in the inside corner and he will freeze. Sure enough, the LSU pitcher throws a fastball perfectly on the inside corner, hitter buckles, never swings. He looked at me and said, how did I know he wouldn't swing? I said, I don't know, coach. He just said, 30 years of experience.
Yeah. The freeze ball was like, you were literally throwing it middle or middle in, and you're like, all right, I'm just going to trust this guy here, because if he's wrong, this ball is getting hit a really long way. And it worked, the majority of the time, it really worked. So, yeah.
And then also in 97, he came in to pitch the eighth inning against Vanderbilt, and Kevin Shipp had thrown 7 masterful innings. We were winning by 6, I believe. I gave up a couple hits. Skip walks out to the mound and says, hey, Joe, it's time for you to graduate or get off my effing mound. Now do you want to pitch? I said, coach, I got this. He walks off. The next pitch is a laser off the wall of the old Alex box, and it reverberated through the whole stadium. As soon as I got the ball back, I turned around. Skip was standing on the mound. He looked at me and said, I got to win this game. Get off my mound.
Now, the graduation thing, y'all know about that? Y'all know about the graduation stuff?
No.
So he had this thing, and towards later in the year, he would say, guys, need to he would bring us all in the squad room, and he would start playing graduation music over the loudspeakers in the squad room. And he'd say, y'all know what this is? And he said,
The dun 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 dun.
the graduate, like the legit,
The old Macho Man Randy Savage.
the
music.
legit graduation music. And he said, look, he'd give the graduation speech, and he'd say, hey, it's time for people in this room to step up and get over whatever hump you're facing, or kind of get to that next level in your performance, and also break through the pressure barrier. Like, we're getting ready to go into a consequential part of the season to ramp up for regionals, and guys have to break through the pressure barrier to get over it, to know that I can count on you moving forward. And that, as weird as this sounds, I will never forget like my graduation moment ever. 1996, we're playing Florida. We're up 2-1, top of the ninth. Yarnell had just pitched an unbelievable ball game, and I come in to face a lefty to lead off the game. And I know that was my only hitter, because Jake Estevez was going to come in after me. And I go down 2-0, and then Lanier steals a strike. Then I throw another pitch, and I strike the guy out. But it was very touch and go, because I knew, just like y'all do, you walk the leadoff guy, it's 2-1 in Omaha, it's going to be bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, that was my only job, and I fell behind 2-0, and I'm like, God, this is like a cardinal sin right here. But he comes, so I strike the guy out. I'm very excited, emotional. And he comes walking out the dugout, and I was like, that's it, But Lanier walks right up to me. He's my teammate at Catholic. And he walks right up to me, and so he was our team captain, a ton of respect for him. He goes, congratulations, buddy, you graduated. And I was like, holy heck, I think I just did. Meaning, I knew from that moment on, whatever pressure I faced in a game, whatever stage it was not going to be any bigger than it was at that moment in Omaha. So that, as a player, that frees you up to, it freed me up to, it was okay with failing, knowing I had done that on that stage, that I would be okay whether I had a bad outing or a good outing. I had pitched at the highest level, the highest stage, with millions of people watching us, and I'd succeeded. So when we went back to next year, it was like no big deal. It was still important, but I knew I'd been here before, done that. So, you were freed up from the pressure, the fear side of things, because, you had graduated. You kind of built everybody up by hearing that speech year over year over year for young guys to really say, like, once you break through that pressure barrier, you should be fine.
No doubt.
Right.
So it's
Amazing
stuff,
story.
Yeah, I had stuff work. I'll never forget this, And it was great that Lanier, I had so much respect for Tim. He had a fabulous World Series, a great captain. But that's the first thing he said. He goes, you graduated the movie. Good job. I'm like, holy hell, you're right. I did.
That's awesome, man.
It reminds me a little bit just the graduation story and the trust factor that starts to be developed between coach and his teammates. And I was listening to Ben McDonald, was on another podcast the other day, and just talking about trust and trusting him to go to him with life problems, being young, going through marriage, navigating marriage, and just, you talk about the pressure of being on the mound in Omaha, and just like how in life was he to be able to just go to and be like, Coach, I need some advice?
I would say, like, while I was here, I didn't go to him that much. I would say when I finished, kind of in that pro ball era, and then after pro ball, just like, hey, looking for jobs, or can you help me out, and he always checked in, how's your mom, how's your sister, how's the family doing, what are you looking to do, here's who I can try to connect you with, So, and then obviously afterwards you see him in the stands and whatnot, or you sit down and you see him at a fall scrimmage, it's just a very different conversation. But just he always wanted to check on us, but everything that y'all have heard, that y'all know about him from a life, he kind of wove in the baseball stuff into the life lessons, and I think everybody that played underneath him carries something forward to this day.
And even years down the road, you can meet up with him and he'd be like, he knows your name, your dad's name, your family's name, and all that. And he'd know what they do. And he was attention to detail about everyone he coached. Yeah.
Everything matters.
Oh, everything matters in baseball.
Look, man, we appreciate you.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks so much.
And I'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thank y'all. I appreciate
Nice
it.
to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, this
Thanks
is
for
an
the story,
unbelievable
man.
setting y'all got going on.
Thank you.
I was watching the news the other day when one of the sportscasters was out here doing a segment right out here, and I was like,
Hey,
that's a cool spot.
That's cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Again, I don't think we could have set this up any better. The lights are starting to come on behind us, and illuminating Skip behind us as the lights come up. The sun goes down a little bit.
Next up, we got you still coaching? At,
No, sir.
you're out.
Fellowship Christian
Pull that,
Athletes.
pull that
Okay.
into your
Yes,
mouth.
sir.
You got
Go.
it. You got it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So former Edie White,
Yes, sir.
baseball coach, David Constant. Tell us a little bit about your skip story.
Man, first of all, thank you guys for having me here. It's just a blessing and honor. I mean, how do we follow the moon? And then I got Coach ML coming after me to close it up. Y'all gonna really appreciate that. Just been hanging out with those guys. You know, the first thing I'll say is that, man, just thinking about Coach Skip and his influence on me, it's just to tell the family if they're listening that, man, thank the family for allowing Skip to do what he did. And, you know, as a family, over Coach, you know, it's really tough. Coach has put in so many hours, and man, and I did it for 22 years. Man, thank you to his family for allowing Coach to change the landscape of baseball at the state. And we were just so blessed and honored. You know, I live in Thibodeau. I grew up, you know, bleeding purple and gold, and so it's just a blessing to meet Coach. And so, you know, my story goes this way. With Coach Bertman, 96, which is pretty awesome. I met the movie that year, but in 96, I'm bringing my younger brother Josh, who's playing at Thibodeau High School, and bringing him in to Christmas camp in December of 96. And man, we're walking down the hallway, and there's Coach Bertman, just him alone walking. And he was just bigger than life to me, man. It was just a moment that I'll never forget. Put my hand out, shook his hand, and said, Coach Bertman, David Kostoff from Thibodeau, Louisiana. My brother's here for camp. And I said, Coach, and I was a shy kid, right? I don't know how it came out, but it was just an anointed time right there. And I said, Coach, you mind if I just hang around Christmas camp and see what you do with these kids and just learn? At that time, I was a junior playing ball up in Shreveport. And he says, what are you doing this week? And I'm like, well, I'm not sure, Coach. I said, I'm just coming home and hanging out. He said, how about you hang out and be my assistant? And I'm like, what? Are you serious, Coach? Like, you're just coming off a 96 championship. And just amazing, just a moment that I'll never forget as a junior in college. Like, I get to hang out with Coach Skip. Like, are you serious? Man, I just began a full week of just being in his back pocket and just being so blessed. A young boy from Thibodeau. Listen, my brother, too, we wasn't 5-star, 4-star guys. Coach didn't know us from Adam. And the cool part is that man took time. He took that moment with me, and he made me his assistant. And so that day was truly tremendous. I didn't have anything with me. Had church clothes on, and Coach goes, well, go see Miss Sandy. And I'm like, what? Like, she's upstairs with all the workers, and she'll give you something to wear. And I was like, Coach, man, what a blessing. So I go up, Miss Sandy's like, what do you need? I'm going to go home and get everything clothes-wise you need. I said, Miss Sandy, no, ma'am. I said, I need a pair of jogging pants. And I said, I'm going to buy that. She wouldn't let me, but I gave one of the workers like $25, and I bought a sweatshirt that I still have today to wear for camp. And man, from that moment, Coach said, meet me back downstairs. And I said, yes, sir. Coach brought me to his house. We actually picked up Coach Boots Garland was there at the time, Vito Bailey. I mean, I'm meeting guys like just unbelievable dudes that love the game. And I'm just some junior in college. And so what an amazing moment. But the most amazing part of it all is that you go to his house and I get to see all his just awesome just awards and all the books that he had, right? His motivational stuff that will transform me, as I'll speak later, into my coaching career. But man, we left there and we went to Alex Box, and he brought me into his actual office, and he said, "Go in there and get you some shoes." And I'm like, "What, Coach?" He brings me to his locker and his Converse. What size? I said, "Coach, I wear 11, 12." He said, "No problem." He said, "Take those right there." His Converse.
That's wild.
That he wore in the 96 championship, dude. I think I posted it earlier the other day that they were Adidas or something, but I remember specifically the old Converse, right, turfs that he wore. And dude, when I put them on my feet, I felt like I was floating, man. I tell you, as a time 19-year-old kid, just um, could not believe what was going down. And Coach let me wear those shoes, and so I wish I would have kept them. But Coach said he had a meeting that afternoon right after he brought me in, and so man, I walked out into the Alex Box Stadium, and I'll never forget this. The workers had left, of course, for Christmas, so they needed to be raked. And I took a small rake, and I'm not saying this for pride or anything, but I got to rake Alex Box Stadium and Coach Skip's shoes.
That's awesome.
The whole,
That's awesome.
listen, I raked it with so much pride, and just, I mean, with tears almost coming down my face, because I'm thinking, man, I'm just this dude from Thibodeau. Like, how do I get this opportunity with Coach Bertman? And so, anyway, needless to say, it was just one of the most pivotal times in my baseball career. And the coolest part about all that is that every night, man, Coach would bring us upstairs to the top suite, and he would show video of his teams winning, and he would talk to these college coaches, and I'm sitting there like, I can't believe I'm sitting there listening to these guys talk baseball. And I'll never forget, it was a video of Todd Walker and those guys winning early championships, and there's a Whitney Houston song, One Moment in Time. And I'm like, I could have sat there till like 3 a.m. watching those videos.
One shining moment.
Yes, sir. And so, man, I know I'm throwing all this. It was just an awesome time in my life, and I just can't believe that Coach, chose. He didn't just choose me, but again, I was nobody. I wasn't a 5-star guy. That he put that time in on me. So that's my first story with me, Coach. Any questions on that? I'm sorry. I don't want to ramble.
Good. Ramble.
Yeah.
Ramble.
So that turned into me, Coach introducing me to Demui and Coogan. And again, it's going to speak to the second part that I want to talk about, Coach, is that he brought in dudes to this university that were phenomenal young men. And I got to hang out with those guys. And then fast forward to the year 2000. So year 2000, I'm graduated. I'm getting to coaching. And again, I tell you, 22 years of coaching, I would venture to say that so many of my the excellence that I felt like I coached with came from Coach Bertman. I mean, you talk about TOB, right? Transfer of blame. I could tell you stories for days. I could tell you
HWA.
Oh my goodness. But that mindset, right? And I think the one thing that, again, going back to the guys that he brought to this university, just tremendous people that became friends. And again, like I said, in 2000, true story, me and my brother, we go up to Omaha to see him play, and it was just an amazing, amazing time. But rewind, though, in that same season, it was Good Friday, never forget. I'm sitting there at Mike Anderson's by myself reading the paper, and Brad Cressy's on the cover. And Mark walks in. Mark Cressy, his dad, walks in with his wife, and Coach taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "Hey, man, you mind if I take that paper from you after you're done?" And I say, "My son's on the front." I know who you are. I got you. So, dude, I let him sit. I gave him the paper, and I mustered up everything I could as a young coach at the time. My first year, I said, "Coach," I said, "I'm a big LSU guy." I said, "I've coached with Coach Skip before his camps." And I said, "Well, you got a few minutes just to show me what you do?" Because he was running some camps in California. I don't know if you know Brad, Mark's story, but Mark reminds me of so much who Coach Bertman is. He was just a people person. And Mark sat me down, and he went through so many drills. And at that time, I was like, "Coach, are you with your family? 30 minutes go by." I'm like, "Coach, please." I was like, "Thank you so much." He's like, "What you doing for the rest of the day?" Again, another Bertman, it's a God moment. And he goes, come to Alex Box. And I was like, "Yes, sir." He's with Jeremy Winton. Remember 2000, Jeremy Winton.
Jeremy's my guy.
Oh, man, listen, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, finish the story with him. So Coach is working with him in the cage for about an hour, and I get to witness that as a young coach, like going through his swing and everything, his stance and everything. And I'm like, wow, this is so, dude, like I'm cloud nine again. Another moment of LSU just blessing me tremendously. And it's all because of Coach Bertman, right? He brought in Brad Cressy, and then, of course, Mark's there to see his son play. Long story short, they make it to Omaha, right? I hadn't seen Coach, me and my brother drive up, win a national championship. me and my brother wait for the team to come out. Mark sees me, bear hugs me. As you remember, Brad hits a double to win the championship in 2000. And he gets on the cell phone and he's like, what you doing the rest of the summer? And I'm like, Coach, what are you talking about?
I guess technically that was a single.
Yeah.
When he crossed,
that's what I
when he crossed
the
first,
game.
he just chilled out.
So that was a game I was watching at friends. I didn't really watch much college baseball, but I watched that game, and that's what made me fall in love with LSU.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, I tell you what, it was a moment because Brad had struggled that whole.
Yeah,
he was
he
0
did.
for 12, I think.
He did.
And but what's awesome, if you go back and listen to that story, I'm sure Brad will tell it. But Coach had just this to get him to imagine himself at the plate at that moment, and I think it was a dream, maybe.
Visualization is
That's
a
right,
huge
man.
thing.
He put that into Brad's mind that he would have that opportunity, and man, so he comes out, bear hugs me, man. His son just won the national championship, and at that moment, it was just amazing. Well, he tells me that, hey, you want to come to California? I'm like, are you serious? Like, help me out with these camps. And I'm like, what, Coach, are you serious? And so, long story short, man, I got to fly to California. He's got the Mark Crusher School of Baseball. And I'm just thinking back to my moments with Coach Skip and just how anointed meeting that I was around the program. And I'm just a young coach, and I get to go experience it with Coach Mark. And, man, he picked me up at LAX and got to hear he was with the Dodgers for so many years as a bullpen coach. And I spent, man, weeks with him out there. And, again, he's like the Pied Piper, man. If his baseball schools, I mean, kids, just like Coach Bertman, man. And I use that reference because I think Coach Bertman knew that about Brad. He was such a good guy. And so I share that story to say, man, it was such an impactful time in my life. But the fact that Coach Skip Bertman brought in dudes that love baseball, that were just class acts. And as a coach, man, I wanted to be that guy.
Yeah,
And
high character.
Brad still does that stuff at Traction.
Yep.
The same type of stuff that putting on those camps
man,
and coaching
so-
teams.
Yeah, you get on Team Cressy, you're excited, man.
Absolutely, man. Listen, Coach has blessed me so much, and so I just share that second story about those dudes because, like the movie, he didn't know me from Adam, Coogan, and all those guys that took me in at that camp. Just so amazing that I was able to learn baseball and then translating the 22 years of coaching, right? And in the last story I'll tell, I want to get Coach in here. I don't want Coach ML. Y'all need to hear him and his stories. But the third thing I'll say about this, and it's so much of who Coach Skip was. As I go through my coaching career, on Friday nights, I had a buddy, we'd go eat at Memphis, right? Everybody remember the great Memphis?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, my good buddy, Ja Boku, he was the manager there. And Ja was just a great guy. We'd go eat on Friday nights. And this one Friday night, Coach Skip walked in, and the place was packed. And I was like, dude, give him my table. Like Coach Bertman's here. He goes, Constant? He said, no. He said, Coach doesn't want that. He said, Coach told me every time I come to this restaurant, he says, put my name on the list exactly in the order of when I signed it. And
No skipping a line.
That is Skip.
Yep.
Right? Like the humble man that changed the whole landscape of baseball in Louisiana.
But that gave him the opportunity to talk to all the folks that were coming into the restaurant.
He knew
too.
how to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
He loved to mingle.
Yeah, and that's my three stories. And I guess the last thing I'll say, Sunday I'm sitting in church and I'm thinking about Coach Skip and just praying for his family. And I think, what Skip did so well, and he did what Jesus did, right? He told parables. He told stories to encourage kids and got to their heart of hearts.
Absolutely.
And man, I'm so thankful, blessed in the ministry now that I share those stories with Coach Skip. And man, I love him, and I thank him for what he did for me and impacted me. So,
amen to that.
and thank you guys for allowing me to share.
No, thank you for
Thanks,
coming. It's funny because I was actually talking to somebody at church Sunday, and they said, man, I saw y'all doing a tribute to Coach. And I was like, yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I was thinking back to just how 2 months ago, maybe 3 months now, at the beginning of the Rougarou season, and Ezra pitches the home opener and Skip comes the game. And I'm working with the Rougarou during this summer, and I'm walking down to the bullpen because I always walk down and talk to the bullpen pitchers. And then I was in charge of the bullpen catchers. So I was walking down there and stopped, and me and Skip just talked for like 10 minutes. And you saw the grandfather side, right? But the coach side couldn't help but try to come out.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
And it's just, but it was storytelling
Yes.
at its finest.
Yes, sir.
And it's just, he was a great man.
Man,
So
the things that he created, man, it's just so special. And the last thing I'll share is the whole Mark Crescent thing. I got to witness Coach Mark in one of his rooms as he's watching his son. He saw it for the first time on video of when, I don't know if you remember that moment where he drives his wife after Brad gets it. Man, I got to watch Coach watch that on video for the first time. And, man, I got tears in my eyes. I'm watching a dad watch his son win a national championship. And watching that just, it's all come to
that emotion.
Oh, just an amazing moment that I got to spend with Coach. And so, but that's what Coach Skip created, right? He created those moments in time that we'll never forget, and we're forever thankful for.
Well, thank you so much again for driving up and telling the stories, brother.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. As you can see, we have the Coach Bertman statue and memorial that LSU's put out is illuminated. We are getting very dark on the screen. But, I mean, just what a view back there. And just amazing stories going on. And as we get a legendary coach here, you want to introduce?
Just like Coach Bertman is a mentor for a lot of people, this guy right here is a mentor for me. And I wouldn't be who I am and where I am if it wasn't for this guy right here, Coach M.L. Woodruff.
Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for inviting me. This is not a time that you want to get invited to, but this is a great time to celebrate a great man.
Amen.
So I know a lot of the coaching styles that you had, and saw a lot of the lingo, the HWA, and a few of the things like that. You pulled from him.
Yeah, I was happened to be starting my high school coaching career a year or two before he came to LSU. So I had the opportunity to play here, but it sure changed when Coach came. And I can remember the first time I met Coach was at the old Alec Box Stadium, and we were in the locker room. Well, it's really a bathroom with some lockers in it. And there was a homeless man that lived there at nighttime. And that's what Coach Bertman walked into. So anyway, our first meeting is memorable in the fact that his hands were huge. He had a radio voice, and he talked like he thought he knew what he was talking about. He talked with confidence and belief in himself. So he had ordered sandwiches for us that night. We didn't get a choice of what sandwich we want. But anyway, he offered them to us, and he said, "I got to charge you $1." He said it's an NCAA rule. And we sort of looked at each other because we had never been invited to a coaches meeting before, so we all gave him $1. But it was such a fun night that night of an experience that I look at looking backwards like it was the start of what happened here and what we're celebrating at this time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think a lot of people have to take in consideration the work and the craftsmanship that Skip single-handedly put into building. He did not inherit a phenom. He built this into the phenom that we know it as today. And just man, that's funny about the homeless man living in the locker room. That's wild.
Yeah, he had started by saying when he got here there were more pigeons in the stands than people, and now you have 12,000 people come to every game.
Yeah,
and
you know, we talked to SEC umpire Joe Harris a couple weekends ago, and we talked about that game that went to like 2 a.m. Started at 10 o'clock at night, and that when he came out from taking a nap at 10 o'clock at night, he's like, man, there ain't gonna be nobody there. Place was completely still packed, and they don't leave. I mean, it's just because it's just ingrained. Such a cool Such a cool place. Let there be light, my friends.
Yeah, and he did it in a way where, for us coaches, it was done differently than through players certainly, but things that he had that others might have not noticed was he had great eyes of what he saw, and he always saw the best in others. And we would always laugh when he would put a player in that hadn't batted in 2 months and put him in a situation to hit. And we'd ask him as coaches, like, Coach, why'd you do that? He said, that guy hadn't. He said, different strokes for different folks. He said, I knew this guy could hit a fastball down. This guy was throwing the ball down, and it was a great matchup. So he said the other guy wouldn't hit him anyway. So
It's amazing.
You might as well make that change.
It's amazing.
It also puts him in a position that he might see down the road, and that might be a big spot for him as an individual.
Like what he was he said earlier, he graduated.
Absolutely.
And he used that high pressure moment for later on down in the future, later down the road to build on.
And Coach Bertman, he wasn't afraid to lose. He wasn't afraid to lose in a way but he didn't give up. And the fact that there were things that were going to happen in that game that needed to happen down the road. So he didn't give up on kids. It was funny, smoking cigars in the dugout, we'd die laughing. And, when LSU was way behind, he was smoking a cigar. And we saw many times where he would put that cigar out when the rally started and said, let's go, guys, let's go. So you could sort of read those things in the dugout. It's so funny. I had a chance to sit with a guy named Boots Garland, who was a speed coach when Coach Bertman first came to LSU. And I used to I taught with Coach at Parkview Baptist, and I used to get the play-by-play of what happened at practice and the stories and things. And I had a front row seat. And like Adam said, we did many things that they did out here. At least I thought we did because of those stories and being close to the program.
Yeah, I remember a lot of that lingo and a lot of that stuff from you, and then a lot of the same people like Demouy, and I heard Ben McDonald on TV the other day telling stories, and a lot of that same lingo is what you heard. And I was like, oh, I've heard that before. I know where that came from. When you talked about skipping the cigars, my brother was an equipment manager for LSU back in the 2001s, and one of his jobs post-game as a manager was he had to go to Skip's office in his desk drawer and pick out the cigar and bring it to him after the game. And it wasn't just go get me a cigar. It was, if we won, go get the cigar in the left drawer. The Cuban, the good one.
Yeah, the good one.
If we lost, the one in the other drawer, the Swisher Sweet. So like he celebrated wins by a really nice cigar. And
Losses, you get the Circle K.
yeah, you do, and that's what he did, because it was almost like punishing himself for losing. But yeah, that was one of the memories that I remember. My brother running to get the right cigar and which one he needed.
And speaking of running, I can remember his first season here after we went to a coaches meeting, and it was in the fall. It was a scrimmage game. I believe they were playing the University of Houston. It wasn't during the spring season, but it was the first game ever that Skip Bertman coached at the old Alec Box Stadium. And it's probably 10 minutes before game, and Coach Bertman is running in the outfield area on the warning track. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is this guy's first game ever here. He hadn't coached a game, and it's 10 minutes before the game, and he's not even coaching. He's out running and that caught my attention, because what happened later on was, like, he was a guy that he didn't micromanage people. He let them coach, and he could step in anytime he wanted to and take over anything that he wanted to. It was amazing, and everybody just stepped back and let Skip on in.
So the pitching coach was although he was a pitching coach, the pitching coach was in the bullpen working on the pitchers. The hitting coach was talking to the hitters, and he was just the CEO.
Yeah.
And where he could step in if he wanted to, call a certain pitch. Well, he called a lot of pitches in his day, but step in when he wanted to.
So speaking of calling pitches, I have a friend named Craig Faulkner that was a catcher and they were in the College World Series. And Craig tells a story where when he was a freshman or a sophomore, he was catching a game and he missed a signal. Coach Bertman signaled in, and Craig got it wrong. And Coach Bertman wore him out and never let him forget. So, from my understanding, when seniors became the starting catcher, they're the ones that made up the signals. And Coach Bertman learned the signals because he wanted to be able to blame them, I guess. So anyway, they're playing in the College World Series game, and I think they're playing Stanford. And Coach Bertman called a fastball away, and the player for Stanford hit a home run, and LSU ended up losing. And so after the game in the interview, some smart aleck guy that knew a little bit of baseball, he asked Coach Bertman, says, "Coach, you've been coaching for a long time." He said, "You coach pitchers." He says, "You know that guy could hit a fastball away. Why did you call that pitch?" And Coach Bertman says, "Woof, I didn't call that pitch. That was Faulkner that missed the signal." So Faulkner's watching the tape, and he knows he didn't miss the signal because he missed it as a freshman. He got worn out. So Craig says after the interview, he goes over there and addresses Coach Bertman and says, "Coach, you know that I didn't miss that signal." And Coach Bertman, in the only way he can, says, "Oof, wait, big guy, oof." He says, you're going to go play pro ball." He says, "I need to keep my job at LSU." You're going to have to eat this one for the team.
Oh my
That's
God,
fantastic. You have to eat this one for the team.
I got to keep my job. You're going pro.
Oh
I
God.
love it.
Speaking of catchers, I talked to Jamin Garrido the other day, and he said, when I think back on my time with LSU and specifically with Coach Bertman, the first thing that comes to my mind aren't really baseball stories at all. I think about family and how he cared about us and our families. I think about teammates that became family while we were under Coach's watch. He had a way of bringing both of those together and making dreams come true. He taught us many things that made us better ball players and better teammates. Yet all those things directly made us better friends, brothers, sons, husbands, dads, coworkers, leaders, and so on. He taught us to trust and love one another, to have respect for others, and to honor the university, our families, and our maker. Most importantly, he taught by example year after year and cared and believed in every one of us. It says so much about a man and all of his accomplishments when at a time like this, I hear more lessons that he taught them. He taught and the love that he shared than I do about ball games and rings. Forever grateful to be a Tiger. Love you, Coach. So as much as a baseball coach that he was and a legend that he was in between the lines, what most people remember the most are the stories about how he cared about the person as a person.
Yeah.
And
well, you heard firsthand from a former player that he coached to the player. He didn't necessarily have, obviously, he had a system, but he would coach up that player by the personality that they had, because he would have to change his style with each player. And that just shows that he knew his players and he cared about his players. And the only way you're going to be able to coach a player like that is if you do care and you do love your players.
And back in the day, you had successful speakers come talk to the team every year. And Coach came and spoke. And he would do that and talk to younger kids because it was more than baseball for him. And it was just teaching people to be better people.
Right.
And I just remember I believe I was in eighth grade when he came and spoke to us. And I remember to this day what he told us. And it was the quote you always said was, everybody can be a pro in something. It may not be baseball, but as long as you learn to be a good person and a good human, and then you can be a pro in something.
Right.
And be a father, be a human, be a coworker, be a brother, be a friend, and all the different things. And he was every bit of that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Bones brought it up earlier, talking about Ron Polk. And I remember my son played at Denham Springs High School, and we had back-to-back first pitch banquets where we had Ron came and spoke, and Skip denied doing it until after Ron did it. He said because the better one had to go last. And it was just, both of these guys a wealth of baseball knowledge, right? We talked about Clayton and I back in 2018 when they did the home and home with Texas before Texas joined the SEC. Sitting there for a half an hour with Augie and Skip at the table, just a wealth of knowledge and willing to talk and share if you would listen.
Yeah.
So I mean, just the most down to earth human being.
Just humble.
Yeah.
The humility that he showed.
Even to just a couple months ago.
Right. It's unbelievable for a man of that stature. But that's what part of his greatness and part of his legacy that people remember around this town is just how humble, how he was always willing to help. He would talk to anyone, and it was amazing for someone of his stature to be that way.
Yeah, Coach, any more stories you want to share? I bet you got a million.
I do, but I can't tell them all.
Yeah,
one thing.
Got to leave some for the book.
One thing I'd like to say though, what he left us all with, and one of the things he did that he never talked about, but it was uncanny in the fact that what he could see in others. And he talked to players in the way of the not yet. He talked to teams in the way of this hadn't happened yet. I had an opportunity to sit next to him at one of those banquets, and I asked him, I said, Coach, did you ever believe this would happen, these things would happen? And I'm looking for an answer a little deeper, and he said, yeah. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, this had happened before in Miami. He says, we came from Miami to here, and we just did what we did back then. He said, nobody in Baton Rouge knew about it. He said, it was already a process in place of things that we needed to do to get it to happen. He said, it was just getting people to believe that it would take place. And he did a great job of getting people to believe in themselves and others.
And now we have this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about the cathedral of football over there. This is the cathedral of college baseball, and it was built by Skip. I mean, again, we go back to the 454 people when he got here from Miami back in 1983, but he saw what it could be.
Yeah.
And he brought that vision to life.
Consistently 12,000 people selling out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And he didn't bask in that though. He didn't go like, hey, look at what I've done.
No,
absolutely not.
No, he was a regular guy.
It was another day at the office.
He was if you build it, they will come.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's the Field of Dreams game was just the other day.
It was.
But that's literally what happened here.
Yep.
He built it and people came.
Absolutely. It started at the old box, and they had to make it bigger. It's going to be insane on Tuesday when from 4:30 to 6 at the PMAC, they'll have a special former players and coaches gathering, and then the doors open at 6 for a public celebration at 7. The amount of former players and coaches that'll come in for that, and the amount of public that will be there, you might have to get a shuttle. Parking's going to be insane.
Yeah,
but
It really will be.
the fact that it's at night and people will be able to get off of work
But bringing people together, I think, like Ezra said it earlier, is what would make Skip happy.
Yeah,
Bringing people together, celebrating LSU, celebrating the body of work, and bringing people together. So,
because I've talked to a bunch of different former players this week that said they were going to come in, fly in. Paul Bird will be here next week. I talked to him last night and this morning. I sent him the link to pop in, and he popped in for a second, but he must have lost connection. Him and Kim are at a retreat. But Randy Kiesler, J.C. Holt, a lot of the ones that still live around here. And then there'll be people flying in to support their coach because he had that kind of impact on people.
yeah, definitely an opportunity to, as Skip would want. Skip wouldn't want people to be sad. He'd want people to celebrate, and that's what LSU will make happen. I know Lori wasn't able to join us because, like you said, LSU's got her buried in getting these things organized. So.
Yeah, I imagine it takes a bit of planning to get
Yeah.
that done.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Can you imagine that guest list for the private sector?
Yeah. It's going to be wild, and thankfully, my brother was a manager for him, so I'll be going in with him on his +1,
Nice.
and that'll be an experience for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, when I saw news people the other day doing their little story out here, I thought it'd be a cool setup.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I thought if I got a family member of the Bertmans to come, I don't think they'd kick us out.
I think it would be good.
But I don't think anybody saw us anyway. I mean, Coach Johnson just
He
walked-
saw us. Yeah.
He did. He just walked to his car a little while ago.
Yep. And
But,
then you just had some players come in to get some work. So it's always good to see guys in the off season coming to the field to get
Yeah,
in.
it's gonna be here before we know it, though.
Oh,
I'm excited to see what the product's gonna look like this year.
Yeah, summer's already over, boys,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be back at it.
So this is a double podcast week for both of us. Y'all's show. When's y'all's next show?
Thursday, we will be live at Denham Springs High School for the Yellow Jackets. Will be hosting the Zachary Broncos football scrimmage time. So it's football season. We're going to be busy on Thursdays and Fridays.
So this Thursday at Pro Dreams, right down the street in the Walk-Ons parking lot, I'll have a musician, Elizabeth Shar, on. She's singing at Guardian Day this weekend. Guardian Day is a big charity to supporting military families that is at the Furman Ranch out in Slaughter. Mark Chestnut, who hasn't put out a song since 1997, is touring, and he will be here this Saturday. But be speaking with Elizabeth Shar, and she's an up-and-coming artist,
Thanks.
and her story on a little bit about Guardian Day as well. That show is sponsored by the Dream Day Foundation, helping St. Jude families.
Tremendous.
So it's been a good show.
Yeah.
I've gotten some texts already about great show and good idea, and it's cool having Chris Demouy, Ezra, Coach Woodruff,
Yeah, absolutely.
David, Coach David drove from Thibodeau to be here for this.
Yeah.
So he's with
And your guy Bones.
Bones
For Hot
Bones
This is
in,
awesome.
in Dallas. He popped on. He will be here Tuesday. But yeah, it was a good idea, good show.
Yeah,
And,
thanks for all the players. Also, sending you something.
Yeah,
for you to read.
I had several that sent me stories.
Yeah,
Some we didn't even get to. Randy Kiesler sent me a couple that probably can't say on there.
Yeah.
That's a group story.
Yeah.
That's a group text story.
Yeah.
But it's the stories you hear on Facebook, on the news, on just people talking since Coach passed away this past weekend. It's pretty incredible, and the amount of people that he touched, and the amount of people that he cared about, and they were talking about the most influential sports figure in the state. Between him and Drew Brees was one too.
Yeah.
And then the most influential LSU person, he's clearly at the top.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. There's no. He's on the lead in the Mount Rushmore of LSU sports.
Oh yeah, even after he finished coaching, hired some coach from Michigan State.
Yeah, some guy did something. I think he won a championship.
Did something, and
Then he hired another guy.
it wouldn't shock me if he showed up on Tuesday.
Yeah,
But
I'm not surprised either.
the amount of people that'll show up on Tuesday, they could put it in this stadium and fill it up.
Yeah, you said that earlier. I believe it.
Yeah.
I do believe it.
With as much as it rains this summer, I wouldn't try that.
Yeah.
The PMAC's a good idea for that. But
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah. So your show, you want to end it?
Yeah. First and foremost, we want to send our thoughts, prayers, and love to the Bertman family. It's hard to replace somebody like Skip on a daily basis. So our thoughts and prayers will always remain with you guys. Additionally, as that light just fell over, 5 national championships tell us how great of a coach he was, but the fact that decades later, people all over Louisiana have their own Skip Bertman story to tell tells us how great the man was. I'm just fortunate that me and my friends here and everybody who joined us had a few of those to share. So for Bayou Brothers and Sports Talk 225, thank you so much for joining us on this tribute to the great, legendary LSU head baseball coach Skip Bertman.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Owe a lot to him.
I got a remote keyboard that works sometimes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Get this real quick.
Back to me. Thank you. You too. All right, Skip.